Thanks, George. Okay, I'd like to welcome everyone to tonight's meeting. Let's start with the Pledge of Allegiance. Would you please all stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, roll call, please.
Stapleton,
Here.
Kittredge, here,
Maher.
Here.
McClafferty.
Here.
Shaughnessy.
Here.
Snagowski.
Here.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, first up, we got the consent agenda. Consists of the following: with the approval of minutes for the village board from December 13th, 2021, as well as the committee of whole minutes from the December 2021 meeting. We have the approval of disbursements as well. Can I have a motion, please?
Second.
We have a motion by trustee Snagowski, seconded by trustee Shaughnessy. Roll call, please. Are any questions or comments by anyone?
Stapleton,
Yes.
Kittredge. Maher.
Yes.
McClafferty.
Yes.
Shaughnessy.
Yes.
Snagowski.
Yes.
Okay, motion approved. All right, moving on. The mayor's report. The first part of the mayor's report is we're going to have a public meeting pursuant to the requirements of section 10 and 20 of the Board Bond Issuance Notification Act of the state of Illinois, as amended on the plans to issue general obligation bonds for waterworks and sewerage alternate revenue source series 2022 in the amount not to exceed $7.2 million. I need a motion to go into the public hearing, please.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion, I believe, by trustee Kittredge, seconded by trustee Maher. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. We are now officially in the public hearing, and I have some verbiage to read here. Please bear with me. Okay, so this hearing has come to order. Let the record reflect that this is a public hearing being held pursuant to the requirements of section 10 and 20 of the Bond Issuance Notification Act of the state of Illinois as amended. Notice of this hearing was published on December 17th, 2021 in the My Suburban Life Lamont newspaper, being a newspaper of general circulation in the village. This is a hearing regarding a plan to issue not to exceed $7.2 million in aggregate principal amount of the village's general obligation bonds, which is waterworks and sewerage alternate revenue source, series 2022, referred to the bonds, the proceeds of which will be issued to, one, finance the acquisition, construction, and installation of various improvements, extensions, and facilities of the waterworks and sewerage system, referred to as the system of the village, and related facilities, improvements, and costs, including the construction of a new water tower in the village, and two, to pay certain costs of issuance of the bonds. The bonds will be issued by the village in accordance with the provisions of section 15 of the Local Government Debt Reform Act of the state of Illinois as amended, and shall constitute a general obligation of the village payable from, one, the net revenues derived from the operations of the system as authorized to be issued at this time pursuant to division 139 of article 11 of the code, or in lieu of thereof, to $7.2 million of alternate bonds, being general obligation bonds payable from the net revenues of the system, and two, ad valorem taxes of the village for which its full faith and credit have been irrevocably pledged, unlimited as to rate or amount. The public hearing is required by section 10 and 20 of the Bond Issuance Notification Act of the state of Illinois as amended. At the time and place set for the public hearing, residents, taxpayers, and other interested persons will be given the opportunity to express their views for or against the proposed plan of financing of the issuance of the bonds and the purpose of the issuance of the bonds. With that being said, Chris, do you want to add to this?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'm going to give it over to Bob Vale. He will discuss just a little bit high level and where we are in the process with the issuance of the bond. So, Bob.
Good evening, everybody. Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Chris. Basically, this is the public hearing, so the second step of the bond issuance process. And this is in regards to the upcoming water and sewer bond issue. And if there was any public or written comment, it's then noted in this hearing. In regards to where we're at with the issuance, this is the second step. The last step, we will come back to the board at the next board meeting on January 24th with the parameters bond ordinance, which will then lay out the security for the bonds and the not to exceed numbers for the pricing in regards to sizing and interest rates on the bond issue. And then assuming that's approved by the board at that time, we will then be in position to sell the bonds either that week, the week of the 24th, or the following week, the week of the 31st. We'll look at supply in the bond market, how rates are trending, try and time everything as best we can to provide the lowest interest cost to the village. Where rates are today compared to where we were back in November when we basically started the process with the committee of the whole. At that time, rates were about a 2.2%. They have gone up slightly since then. Really, the rate increase has really been over the last week and a half, 2 weeks. Not a dramatic move, but it has gone up to about 2.35%, which I ran those numbers today, and the difference between the annual payment is about $2,000. So not totally material, but it has gone up a little bit. It did settle down, it looked like today, from a rate standpoint, since the village is issuing tax exempt bonds for these bond projects and not taxable bonds. That's beneficial, as taxable rates have gone up a little bit higher than tax exempt rates. There's not knowing where we're going to be come January 24th, week of January 24th, but we're getting close. And then the last thing I just really want to state and then answer any questions is we've got the rating set up for this Thursday, January 13th. So Chris, George, and staff, we're going to get on the phone with Moody's again, go for the rating, and hopefully we have those results by the next board meeting on January 24th. So with that, didn't know if there's any questions from anybody on the board that I can answer.
Thanks, Bob. Do any of the trustees have any questions or comments? Okay. Well, thanks again, Bob. Appreciate your work on this as always. And thanks, Chris, for getting this all prepared, all the paperwork. Obviously, we have definitely a few more steps to go. Hopefully, interest rates stabilize a little. Obviously, with inflation rising, we could see them tick up a little, but we're just going to have to wait and see. So any other questions or comments? Okay. All right. With that being said, I need a motion to close the public hearing, please.
So moved. Second. It just,
I'm sorry, I didn't catch who was the first one.
Rick.
Okay. We have a motion by trustee Snagowski, seconded by
And Mayor-
trustee
Mayor,
Maher.
Mr. Mayor, just for the record, there's nobody in attendance and no one has offered to come up and speak on the matter, and I've received no comments prior to the meeting. So you can move forward.
All right. With that being said, all in favor to close the public meeting, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say nay. All right, we are closed. Yes.
I think we need
On this, so can I do a roll call? That's what I have on my sheet.
Sure.
Okay. Stapleton,
Yes.
Kittredge.
Yes.
Maher,
Yes.
McClafferty.
Yes.
Shaughnessy.
Yes.
Snagowski.
Yes.
And then let the record reflect that this public hearing was concluded at the hour of 6:39 PM. Okay,
Motion
thank you.
approved. Thanks, Chris. Okay, as far as the mayor's mention, again, want to wish everyone a happy new year. We hope everyone had a great holiday season. We wish everyone well in 2022. Unfortunately, the year started off with a new COVID mandate from the Cook County Public Health Department. With that being said, Mike, are you on? Can you expand on this mandate for us, please?
All right, I'm here, and let me turn on my screen here. Sorry about that, Mayor. I can. So as we're aware, Cook County followed the lead of Chicago and required a mandate of vaccinations for certain businesses, mainly restaurants and bars, and then also for fitness centers. This is a similar mandate that was originally done in New York City, then the city of Chicago, and now we're in Cook County did that. I want to, there have been many questions about that. This is a county mandate. It is not a mandate of the village of Lamont, and municipalities cannot mandate that. Well, they can mandate it, but they largely are not doing that. We don't have the ability to enforce it because of having limited resources. Also, we're a non-home rule community, so it's very difficult for the village of Lamont to exercise any type of legislation that would be able to stop the mandate of Cook County. As you're aware, we have the village, our city, and then we have the county, and then we have the state. That's the level of government we have. So with that said, any of the enforcement would have to be done and is based on the recommendation of the mayor and the board would be done solely from the county. You'll see, I know there's questions, certain villages are out there saying we're not going to allow that. It's essentially a moot point. The only one that will enforce it would be the county, including the villages and cities that are saying that we're not allowing it in our villages or cities, because the county can still come in and enforce it. So the county health department. So I want to make it very clear that our hands are somewhat tied since it's a county mandate and it's only to be enforced by the county. It's my understanding that this village will not be enforcing it, will not be sending police officers, not be sending our health department in to close any businesses accordingly. So we are no different. In fact, our approach, if there have been a couple articles in papers where a couple of the cities and villages kind of got out there and said, well, we're not allowing it. And then almost all the rest are taking the exact same position that the village of Lamont is, meaning this is something that we cannot, it's an unfunded mandate, and it's a mandate that we don't have the ability to enforce. To the best of my knowledge, no business in the village of Lamont has a visit from the county health department, and I think what you'll see is that continue. Just one other thing, it is done much more frequently in the city of Chicago, because the city of Chicago has their own health department and are aggressively enforcing it. Cook County, to the best of our knowledge, is not. So I hope that clears up any questions. I know there's been questions. What are we doing? Why aren't we doing anything? Again, it's a county mandate, and it's not something the village, being a non-home rule community, can do more than what we're doing right now.
Thanks, Mike. And just to clarify, the concept or the term, non-home rule community relates to any community that is below 25,000 people, which we are. We're right around 17,700. So we do not have the authority, as Mike mentioned, to deviate from this. We are in Cook County. Cook County supersedes us. So these mandates, just like from Illinois, supersede us as well. There has been some, I guess, passages or resolutions by other towns saying, hey, we're not going to adhere to it. I think those have been mainly home rule communities. And Mike, correct me if I'm wrong, unless you have your own, health department, you still have to abide by it as well anyway. So I think there's a lot of, window dressing going on here as far as, what's going on. And trust me, no one likes to be told what to do. And as a village, we don't like to be told what to do. We want to be able to dictate. I personally have received, several emails and inquiries, and I agree. This is frustrating, very frustrating, especially, it came during the holidays. It said January 3rd, we're going to require vaccinations for everyone, even under 18. It's going to happen at the public places as well, either it be, I believe the park district as well as the libraries. And Mike, can you just expand on that? Because they changed that soon thereafter, or just before the 3rd, correct?
They did. As far as it's mainly on recreation, there was some confusion on whether games and so forth would be prevented and whether you would need to have a vaccination card. And then the county clarified that that's not the case for, let's say, a 15-year-old, 16-year-old playing basketball. But what it applies to, the vaccination applies to those that are working out in a gym type of setting. So that's something that at the core or something like that. So that's where it would apply to. And with anything, I think we're going to see some clarification as the time goes on, because the county, we have one of the largest counties in the United States. They're not going to be able to be enforcing this in every jurisdiction. So I know that a lot of people are upset about that, understandably, but this is something that the county will have to enforce, if at all.
Hey, Mike, I have a couple of questions from the board here, Trustee Shaw.
Yeah, I know you sort of answered it, Mike, and that's about the home rule question. And what are the advantages to us to be a home rule community in an issue like this? Is it simply rhetoric, or is there a stand that you could take which has any teeth to it by being a home rule community?
I would say both, but mainly some of the home rule communities have their own health department, and the health department then would supersede the county's health department. I know that the residents of Lamont had the opportunity to become home rule. The mayor correctly noted it's automatic when you're, when it's 25,000 residents or more, or however you can do it via a referendum. I know that we were unsuccessful, I think just prior to my becoming on as the attorney, but I believe that was in 2018 or 19. But it gives you more teeth, because if you are the health department that is governing almost all businesses in your city or municipality, usually then you will trump the health department of the county. So that's one of the things. And the other thing I forgot to add, Mayor, Trustee Shaughnessy, is I've heard, well, what happens if a business doesn't follow it? If a business doesn't follow it, it would be the actual county that would try to take away the license, the health license for a restaurant or for a bar. And those are the tools that they have. And those are tools. We have business licenses and other things. And we've had discussions both on legal and with administration. There has been no acknowledgement or any push whatsoever that we'll be doing that on a village or municipal basis. And on a legal basis, I would not recommend that.
Okay, thank you, Mike.
Thank you, Mike.
Trustee Snagowski, do you still have a question?
I just had a
Comment,
saw the only towns that have put out a notice that they're not going to follow the mandate. All those towns were home rule communities, be it Orland Park, Rosemont, Park Ridge.
Elk Grove.
So I haven't seen any that were not home rule.
Entirely correct. And on a legal basis, I also would recommend that any of those villages that say we're not going to follow it, well, if you have limited resources on a county basis and they have a mandate, and you know who is already out there saying, we're not going to do this, where do you think they're going to go first? So I think it's counterproductive, and I think the approach that we've followed has been the one that most municipalities have followed. And while we're not in agreement with it, we're not enforcing it. And I think that's the best approach and the most logical approach to take.
Thanks. Yeah, and Mike, I mean, just to follow up on that, I mean, this is not the first mandate. We've had other mandates before, you know, during COVID about either it be, you know, number of patrons in a business. You know, again, we're very business friendly. We're not here to tell people how to do their business. We don't have the resources to police it either. And again, as you mentioned, an unfunded mandate, you know, nor do we have the interest to do it. So I just want to clarify that to all of our residents that, you know, this is very similar to kind of what we were running into last year. You know, and if there was you know, an issue, we would tell whoever had an issue with a place of business or whatever to call the county, because you know what, as you mentioned indirectly, you know, the questions do come to us, but we don't have the resources, nor the interest to police this. So just wanted to reemphasize that. George, any other questions or comments by the trustees?
Nope. Seeing none, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, but again, just, you know, as I mentioned, we got quite a few responses by the public. We appreciate everyone's input. We hear you loud and clear. And, you know, again, it's, you know, unfortunately out of our hands. And, you know, we're just going to have to bear with it. And hopefully the, you know, the COVID numbers die down and Cook County, you know, changes their policy. But until then, we're kind of subjected to it. So, so thanks again, Mike, for that.
You're welcome. Thank you, Mayor.
Also, as far as other announcements, you know, we will hold our first Lamont Downtown Ice Fest on Saturday, January 22nd. Our initial live ice sculpture event has expanded this time around and will include 14 unique ice carvings sponsored by the business as well as the village that will be displayed around the downtown. The live ice carving demonstration will begin at 5 o'clock on the outside area near Next Mex. The creamery will be serving up free hot chocolate and cookies while supplies last, and weather permitting, the Lamont Tractor Club will be giving hay rides, just like we did when we lit up the town with the lights. So again, we had some unbelievable crowds. Hopefully we can get just as many people out. It's great to see everyone enjoying it. Obviously, we might have snow on the ground come January 22nd, unlike when we lit up the lights. But again, please check out our community calendar at lamontil.us for this and many events going around downtown. And as always, please sign up for our weekly e-newsletter through Stay Informed. The sign-up link is located on our village website. So that's it for the mayor's report. Next up, the clerk's report. Chris, are you taking that, please? All right. All right, Mike, anything else on your end as far as the attorney report? George, anything for the administrator report?
I do not, Mayor. Sorry, I was a little late.
No problem, Mike.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Quick items, and thanks to Chris Smith for taking over the duties of clerk today, treasurer, clerk, finance director. What other title can we give you? But Charlene took a fall over the weekend on the ice, so she is recovering. I talked to her earlier today, and we hope to have her back for the January 24th meeting where we can issue the bonds, but wishing her a speedy recovery. We'll keep everyone updated. A couple quick items. The newsletter is out. It's on the village's website if you want to get a sneak peek. You can wait for the mail. Any bets on how long it'll take to get to your door through the U.S. mail, but it's on our website if you want to get a sneak peek. A lot of good information in there. Ways to sign up for information, information on economic development in the community, events. Believe it or not, St. Patrick's Day is right around the corner. March 5th. So there's some information on that event. But please keep an eye out for the newsletter. In the newsletter, but also make mention, there are a couple opportunities to provide input to the village. The village is, over the last month and a half, has been soliciting input on our downtown civic space and park space. That survey is still open and available to respond to on our website. And also, as we're continuing on with strategic planning and charting a course for the next 3 or 4 years on a goal-setting process, we're also asking for input from the community. Our version of a community survey is out on our website as well. And I just want to make mention, Village, towards December, we're going to be having another meeting in January. We've been evaluating our water supply needs along with the region. Many towns, and there'll be information in the newsletter as well, have evaluated or in the process of evaluating long-term water supply. The village is in a much better position than many of our neighbors, but we are engaged with Joliet and some other options in the region. We've had 2 workshops, water workshops at the end of the year in 2021. We're going to have another meeting next Tuesday. Note the committee of the whole date changed due to Martin Luther King Day. We're going to be meeting on Tuesday night for our typical committee of the whole, but we're also going to be talking about cost of water, water rates, and then in February, we're going to have another workshop to present a final report. So all that information will be available on the website, and we'll update the board and the community accordingly. Thank you.
Thanks, George. All right, next up, any board reports?
Trustee Shaughnessy has a report.
Thanks, Mayor. I just want to offer our condolences to the families of Sergeant Marlene Ridemick from the Bradley Police Department and Deputy Sean Riley from the Wayne County Sheriff's Department. I also like to offer our prayers for Officer Tyler Bailey, who was critically injured from the Bradley Police Department. 3 examples of police officers in Illinois doing their job handling routine calls. One in Bradley was barking dog, and the second was with a motorist assist. So in these turbulent times the law enforcement finds itself in, I'd ask the public to keep in mind that even in times when it seems of minimal risk, that officers do risk their lives, and this is a tragic example of what could happen. So on behalf of us here, I want to offer our condolences and speedy recovery to Officer Tyler Bailey. Thank you.
Thanks, Trustee Shaughnessy. I think the entire board is behind that as well. So thanks for that update. And also reaching out again to Charlene, the entire board wishes, a speedy recovery for her as well. Any other board reports? All right, next up, how about staff reports?
Mr. Mayor, this is Mark Mayton. If Ralph wasn't going to comment on it, I can comment on the parking restrictions for the snow removal, because we've been getting a lot of questions about that.
Go ahead, Chief.
So just real quick, what our village ordinance is after 2 more inches of snow or more, there's odd and even parking restrictions that begin at 9 a.m. the morning following the conclusion of the snowfall. So that'll be 9 a.m. after the snowfall concludes, and then continues for 48 hours. And that's in order to give the village just a chance to plow all the village streets after the snowfall.
Yeah, it's important.
It's on our website as well.
Yeah, it's important to keep an eye on the website because, the end of the snowfall can get tricky sometimes. People think it's over, it's not over. And we have to watch our manpower as well. So we will post it on the village website when the restriction goes into place.
Thanks, Ralph. Thanks, Chief. All right. Next up, any unfinished or new business? Hey, George, you want to take over audience participation?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. There's nobody in the audience today, and I've received no comments from prior to the meeting, so none needed.
All right. Okay, well, moving on. We are going into executive session. gonna ask for a motion to move into executive session to discuss under Chapter 5 ILCS of the Open Meetings Act. We're gonna talk real estate purchase or lease 120/2C5. We're gonna talk real estate, setting a price for sale 120
Hey, Mr. Mayor,
slash.
You might have there's just one item, 2C11. So it'll be a shorter night than you had anticipated, so.
All right.
Go Alabama, right?
I have the wrong one. So what is it? Real estate 122C
2C11 pending litigation.
my apologies.
pending litigation. Okay, got it. All right, well, that's good. So with that being said, need a motion, please.
Second.
All right, roll call, please.
Okay, Stapleton,
Yes.
Kittredge,
Yes.
Maher,
Yes.
McClafferty,
Yes.
Shaughnessy,
Yes.
Snagowski.
Yes.
Okay, motion approved. George, are we going to have a decision after
There'll be no
executive session?
formal-
Normal action on the agenda, so this will be the end of the meeting for the public, and we'll convene executive session in a couple minutes.
All right. Again, want to thank everyone. Have a great week. Need a motion to adjourn, please.
Second.
Okay.
You already did our motion. We're good. This concludes the
The meeting. Thank you.
Okay.